Hello there, everybody. This is some exclusive content on Patreon for you. I'm going to be reviewing Psyscape in some more detail. This is a book that was published in 1999, and it is a co-writing effort between Kevin Sembeda, who is basically the editor-in-chief and publisher of Palladium Books, so he has his name on everything. But the main concepts come from Patrick Nowak, and with additional writing by Peter Murphy, Christopher Corman, and Julius Rosenstein, who's a long-time Palladium staffer. It covers lots of information about psionics and new psionic character classes, and there's even a dreaded old one in there, and some stuff on necromancy. And there's a bubble mage in there as well, so it's kind of like a bit of a Gazetta, but it's mostly psionic power stuff. And it starts off with some words by Kevin and also from Corman. And also there's some legends from the legendary Erin Tarn from her writings from the year 90 PA, where she's talking about Psyscape being a legendary place that people think is a place of milk and honey, a paradise. It's located somewhere in the magic zone. But the truth of it is they don't really know much about it outside of the magic zone. And the people of Psyscape like to keep it that way. So there's lots of people searching for evidence that it exists, and when they get involved, they get more than they bargain for. So there's some information here on the Dark Harvest, which is kind of like the adventure lead-in, talking about a coalition troopers, and I won't go into detail on that in case you actually want to run that sort of stuff. But it's got the Harvester occupational character class, which is a necromancy sort of character class, and sort of psychic zombies, soulless zombies that have been plaguing the area. But it all comes down to they are worshippers of Nixler, the Harvester of Souls, which is a dreaded old one, a powerful alien intelligence that is feared even by the Splugorth, who are the alien intelligences that occupy the returned Atlantis out in the Atlantic Ocean, and also are some concerned of the vampire intelligences who occupy the South America and hot areas of the southern states. So Nixler is a pestilence that gets its foothold in the world by reaching out and finding fools who will worship death and power to accept him as their master. These evil souls are recruited as minions known as harvesters, the elite who will not be devoured by their master when he enters their world, but who live for eons, serving him in ways attractive to sadistic killers such as they. After Nixler physically enters the world, he can grant his harvesters immortality, although they are subject to physical injury and death, so they can be blown apart. If the master is forced back to his home dimensions, he takes his minions and the soulless zombies of that world with him and cannot return for at least 100 years. However, forcing him back is near impossible feat, and it requires killing 60% or more of his harvesters and killing or freeing 50% or more of the soulless zombies, or reducing his personal damage capacity down to less than 30%, which is some task because his MDC is something like 113,000. To give you some idea of what MDC is, the average person has got like 20 SDC, and one MDC is 100 SDC. So and normal weapons don't do, like SDC weapons don't do any damage to MDC because it's like tank armor and high-tech weaponry and stuff. So he's incredibly powerful. He's also known as the Cold in the Darkness and the Soul Stealer. Of course, he's diabolic evil. He's got intelligence of 25. All of his stats are super huge. He's about the same size as a 200-story building, roughly 800 feet wide, and weighs an incalculable tons. He's immortal. He's a mega damage structure, more like a creature. And he's got an extra 1d4 100,000 SDC, MDC from the power of the countless souls contained inside him. And he's a bastion of super huge amounts of potential psychic energy, so he can cast spells all day long. He can see in all directions because he's covered in eyes. He's basically a huge pillar amorphous mass with screaming souls and tentacles and arms reaching out. Just a nightmare. He's got a horror factor of 19, which is super high. So it's terrifying to get anywhere near this thing. And his enemies are basically all intelligent life that is not under his control. that he is waiting to harvest. His vulnerabilities are mega damage fire, energy weapons, explosions, railguns, and magic that inflicts the physical body. Have full effect. Weapons made from the Millennium Tree do triple damage, and holy and rune weapons do double damage. So those are other rune weapons are quite powerful in Palladium books. So yeah, he's nasty. You basically have to hit him with several large tactical nuclear weapons even to get to his attention. So the best thing to do is basically kill off all of his worshippers, and try and get somewhere near him and plant large amounts of tactical nukes. That's about it. Yeah, good luck. So the objective is to make sure that he's not coming over into your dimension, because once he's here, it's very bad and very hard to get rid of him. So it's really a doomsday sort of scenario of what he's reaching critical mass. They're performing like mass harvesting rituals, and your objective is to go in there and wipe out as many people as possible to make sure that that doesn't happen. Yeah. Then you got Psyscape. Psyscape is another entity that has located itself. It occupies ley lines. It's an energy being that occupies a ley line nexus. And so it's occupied this specific region, this area, and a community of psychics has built up around it, taking advantage of the harmony and stuff that it brings. It may have been attracted to the area to fight Nixler. I'm not entirely sure, but that's something to discover in the book as well. The rest of the book is mostly that's called the Psionic, by the way, that entity. And Psyscape is the city called Mind's Eye that's located in that area on the map here. So then we got all the details on some psychics and special power of psychics that are in that area. They get special abilities due to their proximity to Psionics. And they've got various information about that. Then we get into all the new psionic abilities, and basically just a complete alphabetical listing of all of them. The book doesn't cover all of them. It just covers the new healing, physical, sensitive, and supersonic abilities, as far as I can tell. And it's got some nice illustrations in there. Quite a lot of them copy-pasted from other books. And the Mind Bleeder powers, of course, Mind Bleeders are a relatively new addition to the Psionics, Super Psionics, with creepy, the ability to brain bleed people and cause them to, have all sorts of troubles. And it goes into more detail on the Burster, which is a pyrokinetic. Then it covers Mind Bleeders, and then Mind Melter, which is the general specialist master of psychic powers. And then you've got the Nega Psychic, which is the anti-supernatural. And there's also a Psi Nullifier, which is later on. Then it goes into the Psi Druid, that is kind of like traditional Druid, except psychic, basically. They can communicate with creatures and have weather sense and dowsing and that sort of thing. See plant and animal auras and heal plant life and animal life, and they're empathic. Basically, a Druid. Then you've got the Psi Ghost, who is an infiltration sort of assassin spying specialist who can conceal themselves. Then the Psi Nullifier is like a super nigger psychic. So the human master of psychic or Psi Stalker powers are mental reactive powers that are developed to provide remarkable defense against psychic and magic powers. So they react to being attacked by anything. And Psi Stalkers are quite often nullifiers, but few Psi Stalkers become nullifiers, and a few are still among humans, but they are pretty powerful and can just, there's some good illustrations of them just sort of standing in a semicircle with everything that's been thrown at them, just creating craters around them because they've just fended them off. And they have a null void. Unlike the Nigger Psychic, the Psi Nullifier is not closed to the world around them, but they are closed to all other psychics in the location and sensing magic. So they just they appear to not exist to psychic sensitives. Then you got the Psi Slayer, who is a specialist in telekinesis and vibroblade sort of stuff, and they can do things like sleepwalk and anyway, sort of Freddy Krueger powers. Then you got the Psi Tech, who is the techno wizard's psychic version of a techno wizard, and they've got telemechanics and can control machines with their minds. inhabit machines and stuff. And then Psi warriors, who, yeah, just psychic warriors who have special abilities with weapons and psychic powers. Then you got the Zapper, which is a electric version of a pyrokinetic, basically. And some notes on Psystalkers, mutants, and other psychics from other games. Then it's got some details on a substance called psychola, which is basically Coca-Cola, which has been exposed for a long time to ley lines. And it's sold as essentially a narcotic beverage that is partaken of by Psystalkers and wild psychics out in the wilderness, sort of thing, that is avoided by most psychics because it's addictive, and it is said to provide psychic boosting and psychic powers to normal people, but it also tastes like complete ass to anybody who's not a psychic. But to psychics, it's got some delicious flavor that's quite addictive. And it's kind of like it's a funny meme that's in the game of Rifts and Rifts players for a long time, and they've just sort of given more information about it in this book. And then it's got a bunch of monsters and dimensional beings, including the Bloodhawk, Dark Behemoth, Dark Hound, the Dragon Ape, which is hilarious looking, Dragon Cats, which are a mistake, Land Rays, which are quite interesting, the Necrophim, and Soul Snakes, which are really cool, the symbiote, the Shayline, and the Sun Demon Lipoka, and the Viarnecht, which, yeah, I haven't really read much detail about them, but they look pretty interesting. The Dragon Ape is just hilarious looking. I can't even. And the Dragon Cat is, it looks like a Displacer Beast, but without the thing, and a bit more sort of, I don't know. It looks like a six-legged Lucrota, maybe. Yeah, but the Necrophim and the Soul Snakes, that's a terrifying looking creature. Definitely very, very horrific looking. Yeah. And that's about it, really. No other real notes and stuff after that. Oh, yeah, there's the Power Leech, which is a direct ripoff of Leech from the X-Men. Definitely, they look exactly like him. And also, they've got psychic goblins in there as well, which are, yeah, if you want sort of the Bogart, the Cobbler Goblin type thing. Except, of course, these ones use heavy weapons stuff. And they look quite vicious, and really good illustration of them, I thought. Yeah, looking quite inhuman. And then you got Bubble Magic, which is just pass Bubble Magic. And then a Crystal Dragon, which is really cool. And then there's Zenith Moon Warpers, which are basically like a Kitsune type shapeshifter fox creature. And some notes on the CS, the Coalition States, and Psionics, including psychic research, and the Psi Battalion, and some more military information, some NPCs, and some stuff about psychic implants, or cynetic implants and technology, and also the damage of removing them, and the marketplace, and what those boosters do, which is always good. I love high-tech stuff like that. And some extra weapons and equipment, all, psychic based. Then some experience points table for character classes, and last but not least, the map of North America and where Psyscape is located. And there we have it. That is basically the book for you. So I hope you enjoyed this little extra tidbit and walkthrough. And I'll have some more exclusive content coming up for you later on with future videos. And don't forget, any patrons that have any requests for topics of videos, I'm more than happy to make some exclusive content for you, because I'm not bound by Wizards of the Coast's fan content policy on any of these other RPGs that I cover. So I can cover them to my heart's content. And I'll catch you guys later.